hours of delay, the ceasefire between Israel and Hamas is now officially in effect. In just hours, 3 female hostages are expected to be released by Hamas in exchange for dozens of prisoners held by Israel. Relief trucks filled with food supplies, fuel, and emergency aid now on their way to Gaza as people celebrate in the streets. Joel Rubin is a former Deputy Assistant Secretary of State in the Obama administration and national security expert. Joel, welcome back. Good to see you.
Good morning, Hena.
A delayed ceasefire nonetheless. Your thoughts on what has happened in the last 24 hours?
Well, this is a clearly needed humanitarian ceasefire, and it's going to be very important to help the Palestinian people with the humanitarian assistance. And of course, to get these hostages out safely. We don't know, as you said, whether or not they're alive or dead. And this is it's a very dark kind of trickling out of hostages. But the key question that people already in diplomatic circles are talking about is, will this grow into a strategic one? Will this period, as you were discussing earlier, of this 6-week first phase be used effectively to negotiate a full-on truce and end of the war where all the hostages come out, where we have clarity about Hamas's role in the future and rebuilding of Gaza and security for Israel? Or will it just be a temporary one like we saw in November of 2023, which lasted for about 5 days, and then Hamas broke that ceasefire and fighting commenced again?
And Joel, we know the names of the 3 female hostages that will be released today. You have extensive experience with the State Department and, of course, diplomatic affairs. Those are the 3 women. Give us a sense of what could be happening behind the scenes.
Well, look, in a typical moment where we had a consistent administration, we would have the leadership, as we've seen over the last several weeks, from the White House, who negotiated this, continuing to lead with our diplomats, our career folks on the ground, making sure that the ceasefire is being managed properly, that these next steps of negotiations are already underway. And we have bureaus in the State Department full of experts who understand how to continue to engage all the different parties in the region: Qatar, Egypt, Turkey, which is adjacent to the region in the State Department bureaucracy. All those players will be involved. Now, I believe that's still happening, but we have a presidential transition about to take place tomorrow. And that means that the senior leadership at the department who handle Middle East affairs, in particular hostage affairs, they're going to be gone. And it's not clear who's going to replace them. And so it's going to require career people moving forward with a very skeleton staff. And that's a big concern in the national security communities, is what's going to happen over the next several weeks in particular in terms of staffing and managing the day-to-day blocking and tackling of all the little things. I have to say one more thing. Just look at what happened this morning, a 3-hour delay because names were not provided by Hamas, and right. Israel then bombed into Gaza. These are the kind of tiny issues that can be devastating to an agreement and need to be resolved through hands-on engagement by staff. And we're just not going to have the same kind of officials as we did over the last couple of weeks.
I have to ask you, how likely is it, Joel, that we will get to phase 2? Because getting to phase 1 has been such a challenge.
You're right. Look, this phase 1, it's a 6-week period. It's going to really require a lot of President-elect, soon-to-be President Trump's time, and his advisor, Steve Witkoff, calling. And the Israeli people, hopefully, will see the value of this, as the Palestinian people as well. And that's the silver lining here, is that as people come out into Israel and as humanitarian aid goes into Gaza, that political will from both sides, from the populations, will be growing enough to the point to say to their leaders, do not restart, to say to Hamas, do not create opportunities for Israel to bomb, pull back so we can allow this to go forward for the benefits of all our people. But that's the hinge upon which this deal exists.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.